Evelyn dusted off an old, leather-bound book. Its title, The Vanishing Hand, sent shivers down her spine. It belonged to Victor, her fiancé, a man she thought she knew. The book was filled with strange diagrams and unsettling incantations. This was not stage magic, this was the real deal. Victor's family, it seemed, were occultists. They practiced real magic. Evelyn paced the room, her heart pounding in her chest. How could Victor keep this from her? Was it his to keep? What else didn't she know about him? The weight of the book in her hand felt heavy, ominous. It was a tangible link to a past shrouded in secrecy. Victor's family history had always been a bit of a mystery. He rarely spoke about his childhood or his parents. Now she understood why. The truth was more sinister than she could have imagined. The Vanishing Hand, Evelyn read, were a secretive group who believed they could bend reality to their will. As Evelyn delved deeper into the book, a chilling thought took root in her mind. What if Victor wasn't just descended from these people? What if he practiced their magic too? Evelyn stumbled upon an old metal box tucked away in the attic. It was heavy, cold to the touch. Inside she found a file, its label faded with time. The Fire at Blackwood Manor. 1998. Blackwood Manor, Victor's childhood home. The fire, the one that claimed his parents' lives. The file contained police reports, witness testimonies and grainy photographs. The fire, the report concluded, was accidental. But something didn't sit right with Evelyn. The reports were vague, almost evasive. The testimonies were fragmented, contradictory. She stared at a photograph of the charred remains of Blackwood Manor. It was a scene of utter devastation. The fire had been intense, all-consuming. Yet, amidst the ashes, there was an unsettling order. The way certain areas were burned, others strangely untouched. It felt deliberate, planned. Evelyn's pulse quickened. A knot of dread tightened in her stomach. This wasn't just an accident, was it? There was something more to this fire, something sinister. The file mentioned whispers in the village, hushed tales of the Blackwood family dabbling in dark arts. They were seen as reclusive, strange. Some even called them dangerous. Evelyn read about strange symbols found drawn on the manor walls after the fire, symbols that matched the ones in Victor's book. The villagers believed the fire was a curse, a consequence of the Blackwoods' unholy practices. They said the Blackwoods had angered something ancient and powerful, something that exacted a terrible price. Evelyn shivered. One testimony from the family groundskeeper caught her eye. He spoke of Victor, a young boy at the time, behaving strangely in the days leading up to the fire. He was withdrawn, his eyes filled with a disturbing intensity. Evelyn reread the report on the fire's origin. It started in the manor's old library, a room filled with ancient texts and artifacts, the very room where Victor kept his occult books. The report stated the fire was likely caused by a stray ember from the fireplace. But what if it wasn't an ember? What if the fire was started deliberately as part of some dark ritual? The thought sent a chill down Evelyn's spine. It was a horrifying possibility, but one she couldn't ignore. The more she uncovered, the more she felt like she was stepping into a nightmare. Evelyn closed her eyes, picturing the scene as she imagined it. Victor, a young boy, standing amidst the flames, a look of cold determination on his face. The image was so vivid, so terrifyingly real that it took her breath away. Section 5. Victor's Secret. She thought of Victor, his calm demeanour, his piercing gaze. Was it all a facade, hiding a dark truth? Had he been living a lie all these years? Evelyn remembered the strange symbols Victor sometimes drew, dismissing them as doodles. Now she realised they were identical to the ones in the book, the ones found in the ashes of Blackwood Manor. Victor's evasiveness about his past, his family now, made a chilling kind of sense. He wasn't just hiding from his past, he was hiding from what he was capable of. Evelyn realized she didn't know Victor at all. The man she loved, the man she was going to marry, was a stranger. Section 6. Seeds of Doubt. Doubt gnawed at Evelyn's heart. Could Victor have killed his own parents? The thought was horrifying, almost unthinkable, but the evidence, circumstantial as it was starting to paint a very disturbing picture. She remembered the strange gleam in Victor's eyes when he talked about his magic tricks, the way his hands moved with such uncanny precision. Was it just skill, or was it something more, something darker? Evelyn shuddered. She had to know the truth. Section 7. The missing piece. Evelyn knew she needed more than just suspicion. She needed proof. Proof that would either clear Victor's name or confirm her worst fears. There was one person who might be able to help her. The groundskeeper who had given the testimony. He was still alive, living a quiet life on the outskirts of the village. He was her only lead, her only chance at finding out what really happened that night at Blackwood Manor. Evelyn knew the journey to the truth would be dangerous, but she had to see it through, no matter the cost. She owed it to herself and to the memory of Victor's parents. Section 8. A shadow of suspicion. As she prepared to confront the groundskeeper, a shadow of suspicion fell upon Evelyn herself. What if she was wrong? What if Victor was innocent? The thought brought a flicker of hope, quickly extinguished by the weight of the evidence. She had to know the truth, however painful it might be. She owed that much to Victor, to herself, and to the memory of his parents. The truth, however terrible, was the only way to break free from the grip of doubt and suspicion that threatened to consume her. Section 9. The unveiling. Evelyn set off on her journey, a journey that would lead her deep into the heart of Victor's past, a past shrouded in secrets and shadows. What she would find there, she didn't know. But one thing was certain: the truth, once unveiled, would change everything. The city held its breath. Fear, cold and clammy, clung to its alleyways. 6 bodies in 6 weeks. Each death a grotesque parody of life. Whispers spoke of a darkness consuming the city, a malevolent force feeding on the lifeblood of the innocent. First it was the artist, his palette a canvas of crimson, brushes frozen mid-stroke. Then the musician, his instrument shattered, a discordant note forever etched on his face. Each victim a chilling testament to a macabre ritual. The police were baffled. Superstition wormed its way into the hearts of even the most skeptical. Something evil was afoot, something ancient and unstoppable, or so they thought. Victor, a figure shrouded in enigma, moved with the grace of a predator. His eyes, pools of shadowed obsidian, reflected not the world but the abyss staring back. He was the conductor of this morbid symphony, each death a carefully orchestrated note in his magnum opus. In the solitude of his chamber, lit by the flickering flames of black candles, he prepared. Ancient texts, their pages brittle with time, lay open, whispering forgotten lore. The air crackled with unseen energy, a testament to the power he commanded. He was not merely a killer, but a conduit, drawing upon archaic powers, invoking deities long forgotten by man. Each victim a symbolic representation of an ancient magical principle, sacrificed to fuel his terrifying ambition. Evelyn, a librarian with a thirst for knowledge and a nose for the arcane, stumbled upon the truth. Hidden within the brittle pages of a forgotten tome, she found the key to the murders. A ritualistic pattern, an ancient Sumerian legend, and the chilling realization of what lay ahead. 7 sacrifices for ultimate power. 6 down, 1 to go. Time was running out. The final piece of the puzzle, the intended 7th victim, remained elusive, shrouded in the cryptic verses of the ancient text. Evelyn knew she had to act fast. The fate of the city, perhaps the world, rested on her shoulders. Days turned into nights as Evelyn tirelessly deciphered the cryptic verses. She scoured through ancient texts, consulted forgotten maps, her quest leading her deep into the labyrinthine world of forgotten lore. The text spoke of a lineage, a bloodline that held the key to the final sacrifice. It hinted at a protector, a guardian tasked with shielding the lineage from the forces of darkness. But who were they? The clock was ticking. Evelyn could feel it in her bones, the urgency thrumming through her veins. She had to find the final victim before Victor did. The city held its breath, oblivious to the battle being waged in its shadows. The answer, when it came, was both a revelation and a curse. The protector, the final sacrifice, was not a person, but a role passed down through generations. And Evelyn, through a twist of fate and bloodline, was the last in line. Terror, cold and unfamiliar, wrapped around her heart. But fear was a luxury she couldn't afford. Victor was closing in, drawn to her like a moth to a flame. She could feel his presence, a shadow lurking at the edge of her awareness. She had to lead him away, draw him out before he could claim his final victim, her. The abandoned cathedral loomed before her, its skeletal silhouette a stark contrast against the bruised twilight sky. It was here, amidst the decaying grandeur and echoing silence, that she would make her stand. Victor was waiting, his silhouette a dark stain against the stained glass window. He turned, a slow, predatory smile spreading across his face. "You cannot stop the inevitable, Evelyn," his voice resonated in the cavernous space. "We have a different destiny in mind for you," he continued, his eyes gleaming with an unholy light. Evelyn stood tall, fear a bitter taste in her mouth. She had anticipated this, planned for it. As Victor approached, his movements fluid and graceful, she unleashed the power she had been holding back. The air crackled, the scent of ozone thick in the air. She had taken pages from Victor's own playbook, learned the language of the ancient rites, twisted them, molded them to her will. A wave of pure energy erupted from her, slamming into Victor, throwing him back against a pillar. The cathedral groaned, dust raining down from the rafters. The battle was swift, brutal. Evelyn fought with the desperation of one who had nothing left to lose. She met each of Victor's attacks with a ferocity he hadn't anticipated. But power, even borrowed, came at a price. She could feel it draining her, leaving behind a chilling emptiness. Yet she pressed on, fueled by a glimmer of hope and a whole lot of despair. In the end, it was a miscalculation on Victor's part, a momentary lapse in concentration that proved to be his undoing. He faltered, his control slipping, and Evelyn seized the opportunity. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Evelyn stumbled out of the cathedral. She was drained, wounded, but alive. The city, oblivious to the battle fought and won in its shadows, was slowly waking up. The threat was over, for now. Evelyn knew that the forces Victor commanded were ancient, their hunger insatiable. But she had bought them time, a chance to prepare. She was the guardian now, the protector of the line, and she would be ready.
Evelyn's heart pounded in her chest. She was on a quest for truth, a truth as elusive as smoke. Her search had led her to the doorstep of Armand Voss. Victor's old mentor. Voss, a retired illusionist, lived in a secluded cottage. It was shrouded in mist and mystery, much like the man himself. Evelyn knocked on the weathered oak door. The sound echoed in the stillness. She waited, her anxiety growing with each passing moment. The door creaked open, revealing a frail figure with eyes that seemed to hold ancient secrets. "Mr. Voss?" Evelyn asked, her voice barely a whisper. Voss peered at her with an intensity that made her shiver. "You seek answers," he rasped, his voice hoarse with age. "Answers about Victor," Evelyn confirmed, her grip tightening on the worn leather strap of her satchel. "About what he's become." Voss invited her inside, his movements slow and deliberate. The air inside the cottage was thick with the scent of incense and old books. It felt heavy, oppressive. Evelyn felt a knot of unease forming in her stomach. "Victor was my most brilliant pupil," Voss began, his voice a low murmur. But even then there was a darkness in him, a hunger for forbidden knowledge. He turned to her, his gaze piercing. "The magic he wields now, it's not of this world. It's dangerous, Evelyn. More dangerous than you can possibly imagine." His words hit her like a physical blow. Evelyn had suspected as much, but to hear it spoken aloud, to have her fears confirmed filled her with dread. She had to know more. "What is this magic, Mr. Voss?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Where does it come from?" Voss led her to a dusty bookshelf, his fingers tracing the spines of ancient tomes. He pulled out a leather-bound volume, its pages brittle with age. The title, embossed in gold, sent shivers down Evelyn's spine. Codex Arcanum. "This book," Voss whispered, his voice filled with a mixture of fear and reverence, "contains knowledge that should never have been unearthed. Knowledge that corrupts even the purest of souls." He looked at her, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. Victor found this book, Evelyn. He became obsessed with it, consumed by its power. Evelyn's mind raced. The Codex Arcanum. She had heard whispers of it, legends of forbidden magic and ancient pacts, but to see it now, to hold it in her hands, filled her with a sense of foreboding. "And this magic," she asked, her voice barely audible, "what can it do?" Voss hesitated, his gaze fixed on the ancient book. "It can grant unimaginable power," he said finally, his voice heavy with warning. "But at what cost, Evelyn? At what cost?" Evelyn wanted to believe that Victor could not be lost, that there was still good in him. She clung to this hope, even as Voss's words echoed in her mind. "Victor is not evil," she insisted, more to convince herself than Voss. "He wouldn't use this power for darkness." Voss shook his head sadly. "The Codex corrupts, Evelyn. It twists even the best of intentions." His voice was filled with a weariness that spoke of years spent battling his own demons. Evelyn pushed aside her doubts. She had to find Victor. She had to believe that she could save him from this path. Leaving Voss's cottage, Evelyn felt a growing sense of urgency. She had to find Victor, and she had to find him soon. Her search led her to Victor's childhood home, a rambling Victorian mansion on the edge of town. The house stood shrouded in shadows, its windows dark and empty. It seemed to loom over her, a testament to a past she never knew. As she approached, she felt a cold shiver run down her spine. The air around the house felt heavy, oppressive. Pushing open the creaking door, Evelyn stepped inside. The air was thick with the smell of dust and decay. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the only sound was the scuttling of rats in the walls. The house was a tomb, a decaying monument to a life left behind. But beneath the surface, Evelyn could sense something else. A darkness lingered here, a palpable presence that sent chills down her spine. Evelyn spent hours exploring the darkened rooms, each one filled with the ghosts of Victor's past. She found his old study, the walls lined with bookshelves that were now bare. She imagined him as a young boy, poring over ancient texts, his mind already hungry for knowledge. In Victor's old bedroom, she found a loose floorboard. Prying it open, she discovered a small, hidden chamber beneath. Her heart raced as she peered inside. The chamber was empty except for a single chest, its surface carved with strange symbols. Evelyn knelt down, her fingers tracing the intricate carvings. They were ancient, she realized, older than anything she had ever seen, and they radiated a faint, unsettling energy. With trembling hands, she lifted the heavy lid of the chest. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, lay a book. Its cover was bound in dark leather, the same as the Codex Arcanum. Evelyn reached for the book, her fingers brushing against its cold, unyielding surface. She could feel a strange power emanating from it, drawing her in. Evelyn cautiously lifted the book from the chest. It was surprisingly heavy in her hands. As she examined it more closely, she saw that the cover was not blank, as she had initially thought. It was covered in the same strange symbols that she had seen carved into the chest. The symbols seemed to writhe and shift before her eyes, as if they were alive. She felt a cold dread creep into her heart. These symbols were powerful, she could sense it, and they were deeply, inherently wrong. As she opened the book, a musty smell wafted up from its pages. The paper was brittle and yellowed with age. The writing inside was in a language she didn't recognize, but it filled her with a sense of unease. These symbols, this book, they were a key to understanding Victor's transformation, but they were also a terrifying glimpse into the depths of the darkness that now consumed him. Evelyn's mind raced as she tried to make sense of it all. The Codex Arcanum, the hidden chamber, the strange symbols. It all pointed to a side of Victor that she had never known, a side that had been hidden in the shadows. The realization hit her like a physical blow. Victor hadn't just stumbled upon dark magic. He'd been seeking it out, even from a young age. This hidden chamber, this book, it was all evidence of an obsession that ran far deeper than she ever imagined. A wave of nausea washed over her. She had believed that she could save Victor, that she could bring him back from the brink. But what if there was no saving him? What if he didn't want to be saved? The thought sent a chill down her spine. She had to know the truth, no matter how terrifying it might be. She had to understand the darkness that had consumed Victor, even if it meant facing her own deepest fears. Evelyn closed the book, her hands trembling. The weight of it felt heavier now, as if it were imbued with the darkness that had taken root in Victor's soul. She knew that she couldn't ignore this. She had to confront Victor to find out how far he had fallen. But a part of her was terrified of what she might find. What if Voss was right? What if the Victor she knew, the man she loved, was gone forever, replaced by something cold and monstrous? As she left the house, she could feel the darkness closing in around her, colder and more oppressive than ever before. The search for Victor was no longer just a journey to find a lost love. It was a descent into the heart of darkness, a desperate struggle against an ancient evil that threatened to consume everything in its path. And as Evelyn stepped out into the gathering gloom, she knew that she might not be strong enough to stop it.
Detective Evelyn Cross stared at the files. 6 missing persons, all connected to Victor LaGrange. A shiver ran down her spine. This was no ordinary case. Evelyn was known for her sharp mind and determination. She had a knack for solving the toughest cases. But this one felt different. It felt personal. The disappearances started 10 years ago. Each victim had volunteered in LaGrange's magic act. Then poof, gone. Evelyn shut the files, a steely glint in her eyes. She was determined to unravel this mystery, no matter the cost. The first to vanish was a young woman named Maya. She had been excited, eager to be part of LaGrange's act. Then, during a performance, she disappeared. Next was a young man, then an older gentleman. Each time LaGrange claimed it was part of the act. The audience cheered. No one suspected a thing. Evelyn dug deeper into the files. She read witness statements, news reports, and police interviews. A pattern was emerging. Each disappearance followed the same pattern. The volunteer, the act, the vanishing. It was too precise, too calculated. Victor LaGrange was an enigma. He started as a struggling magician, small-time gigs, cheap tricks. Then, everything changed. His act with the vanishing volunteers became a sensation. People flocked to his shows, eager to witness the impossible. Fame and fortune followed. LaGrange became a household name. He was on television, in magazines, everywhere. Evelyn felt a knot of unease in her stomach. LaGrange's success felt tainted, built on a foundation of secrets. Evelyn decided to visit LaGrange's old haunts, the small clubs where he used to perform, places where secrets lingered. She talked to owners, bartenders, and fellow magicians. Whispers followed LaGrange's name. Rumors of dark magic, of forbidden rituals. One name kept popping up, Madame Evangeline, a mysterious figure from LaGrange's past. Some said she was his mentor, others his lover. Evelyn felt a chill run down her spine. She was getting closer to the truth, but the truth was a dangerous thing. Evelyn discovered that Madame Evangeline had vanished years ago. No trace, no explanation, just like LaGrange's volunteers. She found an old photograph of LaGrange and Evangeline together. LaGrange looked young, almost scared. Evangeline had a knowing smile. In the background, Evelyn noticed a strange symbol, a circle with a dot in the center. It was the same symbol LaGrange used in his act. Evelyn's instincts screamed at her. This symbol was the key to the mystery, but what did it mean? Evelyn decided to attend one of LaGrange's shows. She needed to see the act for herself, feel the energy of the crowd. The theater was packed. The air crackled with anticipation. And then, Victor LaGrange appeared. He was charismatic, commanding. His assistant, a beautiful woman named Serafina, was mesmerizing. Her movements were fluid, graceful. Her eyes held a strange power. Evelyn watched closely as LaGrange performed his act. He made a volunteer disappear. The crowd roared with delight, but Evelyn felt a cold dread. She knew this was no illusion. The volunteer was truly gone. After the show, Evelyn went backstage. She needed to speak to LaGrange to confront him, but he was nowhere to be found. She found Serafina packing up. Up close, Evelyn noticed a strange glint in Serafina's eyes, a flicker of something ancient and dark. "Where is LaGrange?" Evelyn demanded. Serafina smiled, a slow, predatory smile. "He's gone," she whispered, "and he's never coming back." Evelyn felt a surge of adrenaline. She knew Serafina held the answers, but she was also in danger. "What have you done with him?" Evelyn asked, her voice trembling. Serafina laughed, a chilling sound. "He was weak," she hissed. "He couldn't control the power. But I can." She stepped closer to Evelyn, her eyes blazing. "And soon, I will control it all." Evelyn realized with horror that Serafina was not just an assistant. She was something more, something powerful and dangerous. Before Evelyn could react, Serafina raised her hand. A blinding light filled the room. Evelyn closed her eyes, shielding herself from the glare. When she opened her eyes, Serafina was gone, vanished into thin air. Just like LaGrange and all the others, Evelyn was alone, surrounded by the remnants of the show. The stage was empty, the magic had disappeared. But Evelyn knew this was far from over. Serafina was out there, and she was coming for her.
New Orleans, a city of mystery, a place where shadows dance, and tonight, the Orpheum Theater pulsed with anticipation. The air, thick with humidity and the scent of old magic, crackled. Victor LaGrange, renowned illusionist, promised his most daring feat yet, the grand disappearance. His arrival on stage was met with thunderous applause. He was a showman, tall and lean, with eyes that held 1,000 secrets. Tonight, those secrets would spill onto the stage, weaving a tale of wonder and fear. The audience, captivated, leaned forward, ready to be amazed. A hush fell as Victor invited a volunteer from the audience. A young woman, her laughter echoing in the silence, stepped onto the stage. The trick was a classic. The woman, her smile bright, entered the elaborate cabinet. Victor, with a flourish, slammed the door shut. The seconds ticked by, each one an eternity. The air grew thick with tension. Then, silence. Victor threw open the cabinet door. It was empty. The audience gasped. The woman had vanished. At first, stunned silence. Then, a wave of murmurs washed over the theater. Whispers turned to frantic cries. Where did she go? The stage manager, his face pale, rushed onto the stage. He searched behind the curtains, under the stage, nothing. The audience, a collective entity gripped by panic, rose to their feet. The impossible had happened. A life, a soul vanished before their very eyes. Fear, contagious and potent, swept through the theater. The grand disappearance had become a terrifying reality. Backstage, chaos reigned. Stagehands ran frantically, their voices echoing in the emptiness. But Victor LaGrange was gone. On his dressing table, a single note lay illuminated by a single flickering bulb. The truest magic comes at a price, it read. The note, penned in Victor's hand, sent chills down their spines. Was this a confession, a warning, or a final cruel joke? Victor had disappeared as swiftly as his volunteer, leaving behind a whirlwind of questions and a city on the brink of hysteria. Section 5. Beyond the veil, magic, illusion, and the unexplained. New Orleans, steeped in voodoo and whispered tales, was no stranger to the supernatural. But this was different. Was this true magic, a force beyond comprehension? Or was it a meticulously crafted illusion, a trick gone horribly wrong? The lines blurred, rationality battled with the unexplainable. The human mind, desperate for answers, clung to both possibilities. The disappearance challenged their perceptions of reality. Could the impossible be possible? Had Victor LaGrange crossed a line, venturing into realms unknown? Section 6. A haunting in New Orleans, the city that embraces mystery. New Orleans, with its haunted history and air of secrets, became a character itself. The city held its breath, waiting for answers. The French Quarter, usually alive with music and laughter, seemed to hush. Even the Mississippi River, usually a torrent of activity, seemed to flow a little slower. Every shadow seemed to whisper her name. Every gust of wind carried the echo of her laughter. The city mourned the missing woman, its heart heavy with unease. New Orleans, a city that embraced its mysteries, found itself grappling with one it couldn't ignore. Section 7. The Weight of Secrets. What did Victor know? Victor's cryptic note echoed in the minds of all who had witnessed the impossible. What secrets did he possess? Did he know what happened to the woman? Was this a tragedy masked as entertainment, or was he a victim of his own ambition, his magic spiraling out of control? The note hinted at a price to be paid. Was the woman's disappearance that price? And if so, what dark forces had Victor invoked? The questions lingered, heavy and unanswered. Victor LaGrange, the master illusionist, had woven his final terrifying trick. Section 8. The Disappearance, a puzzle with missing pieces. Days turned into weeks. The investigation continued, but the mystery deepened. The missing woman was never found. Theories abounded. Some whispered of secret trapdoors, others of hidden accomplices. Some even spoke of dark magic, of ancient rituals gone awry. But the truth remained elusive, hidden behind a veil of speculation and fear. The grand disappearance had become an unsolvable puzzle. The missing pieces, it seemed, were lost in the labyrinthine streets of New Orleans, swallowed by the city's shadows. Section 9. The Final Curtain. Can the truth ever be revealed? Years have passed. The Orpheum Theatre still stands, a grand old dame with a dark secret hidden in its wings. The memory of that night lingers, a ghost light illuminating a stage forever marked by the unexplained. Was it a trick gone wrong? A supernatural occurrence? Or something even more sinister? The answer, like the missing woman, remains lost in the mists of time. The grand disappearance serves as a chilling reminder that some secrets refuse to be unlocked. Some truths perhaps are better left buried. But the question lingers. Can we ever truly escape the magic's hold?
Evelyn stared at the ancient artifact, pulse quickening. It was cold to the touch, older than time itself. This wasn't just another find, this was a key to unlock secrets buried for millennia. Her heart pounded in her chest. Excitement warred with a strange sense of foreboding. The weight of her discovery pressed down on her. What to do? What to choose? The world was not ready for this, she thought. Not yet. But could she bear the responsibility of keeping it hidden? Her mind raced, caught in a whirlwind of doubt and determination. This wasn't just about history. It was about the very essence of humanity. Science whispered, urging her to share, to illuminate the dark corners of history with the brilliance of discovery, to rewrite what we knew about ourselves. But faith cautioned her. It spoke of ancient pacts, of knowledge too dangerous to wield, of consequences unforeseen and dire. Power ever hungry lurked in the shadows. Governments and organizations, their eyes on the artifact, their motives unclear. Could she trust anyone with such power? Evelyn found herself torn, caught in a web of conflicting desires. To know, to protect, to control. The battle raged within her. History was littered with whispers of civilizations lost. Civilizations that had mastered technologies beyond our comprehension. Civilizations that vanished, leaving behind only tantalizing clues. The Egyptians, with their intricate understanding of the cosmos. The Mayans, their calendar, a testament to their astronomical prowess. What secrets did they possess? Why did they fade? Was their disappearance a warning, a cautionary tale of knowledge misused, of boundaries crossed? Or was it a cycle, destined to repeat itself? Evelyn delved deeper, each inscription, each symbol, a breadcrumb leading her further into the labyrinth of the past. The ethical dilemma gnawed at her. What right did she have, she wondered, to unearth secrets perhaps meant to remain buried, to potentially unleash chaos upon the world? Could humanity, still grappling with its present, handle the weight of its true past? Would this knowledge unite, or would it shatter the fragile fabric of society? Was ignorance bliss, or was the pursuit of truth, no matter the cost, a fundamental human right? Evelyn grappled with these questions, the burden of her discovery a heavy crown upon her head. Section 5. When Myths Whisper Truths. Myths, once dismissed as mere tales, now seem to echo with unsettling familiarity. Stories of gods and monsters, of floods and fires took on new meaning. Ancient texts, once relegated to the realm of fantasy, now felt like coded messages. Whispers from the past, hinting at truths too profound to comprehend. The line between myth and reality blurred. The impossible felt plausible. The world, as she knew it, began to shift, to tremble on its axis. What if, she thought, these myths were not fiction, but fragmented memories of a forgotten past? Section 6. The Guardians of History. For centuries, secret societies had guarded ancient knowledge, passing it down through generations. Their motives shrouded in mystery. Were they protectors, shielding humanity from itself? Or were they manipulators, hoarding power for their own nefarious purposes? Evelyn knew their influence stretched far and wide. They moved in the shadows, their presence felt but rarely seen. Could they be trusted? Or were they the true enemy? She had stumbled upon something bigger than herself, something ancient and powerful, and they knew it. Section 7. The Burden of Choice. The weight of the world, it seemed, rested on her shoulders. The decision, agonizing in its magnitude, was hers alone to make, to reveal or to conceal, to trust or to fear. Her mind, a battlefield of conflicting thoughts, offered no easy answers. The fate of humanity, she realized, hung in the balance. One wrong move could have catastrophic consequences. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across her study, Evelyn knew the time for contemplation was over. The time for action had arrived. Section 8. A Ripple in Time. With a deep breath, she made her choice. A choice that would reverberate through time, its impact impossible to predict. Her heart ached with the enormity of it all. But a strange sense of peace settled over her. She had done what she believed was right. The world, oblivious to the storm brewing on the horizon, continued to spin. But for Evelyn, nothing would ever be the same again. She had set in motion a chain of events, the consequences of which were yet to unfold. Section 9. Unwritten Chapters. The future stretched before her, uncertain and perilous. But she faced it with a newfound resolve. The past had been unlocked, the world was on the brink of change, and she, Evelyn, the reluctant guardian of history's secrets, would be there to witness it all. The journey ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but it was a journey she was now bound to take. For the secrets of the past, once revealed, could never be forgotten. They became a part of us, shaping the present and defining the future.
This is why you need to know about Evelyn. She holds the key to uncovering the truth, and she's not alone in her quest. Evelyn thought she was just a historian, a truth seeker. But when she stumbles upon an ancient codex, everything changes. This isn't just any book. It's a key to altering the very fabric of reality. But she's not the only one searching. A powerful shadow organization, backed by world leaders and religious authorities, will do anything to keep the truth buried. They believe the codex holds the secret to controlling reality itself. Imagine the chaos if this power falls into the wrong hands. Evelyn faces a race against time, against shadows, and against the very fabric of our existence. She must uncover the truth before the world as we know it collapses. Evelyn and the Codex. Join the race against shadows. Will you uncover the truth, or will it remain buried forever? Evelyn, a young archaeologist, found an ancient codex. It was hidden deep within the British Museum. The codex held the key to a forgotten past. Evelyn and her team embarked on a global quest. They followed clues scattered across continents. From Mesopotamia's ruins to the Arctic's icy grip, their journey unfolded. Angkor Wat's majestic temples held more secrets. Time was running out. A powerful organization sought the codex's power. Evelyn had to decipher the clues. The fate of humanity might depend on it. Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, Crumbling walls whispered forgotten stories. Evelyn's team excavated ancient Sumerian tablets. They found star charts that mirrored modern astronomy. Myths about the Anunnaki, gods from the sky, echoed with strange familiarity. Legends spoke of advanced knowledge gifted by these gods. Were they just myths, or glimpses into a forgotten past, more sophisticated than we could imagine? The line between myth and reality blurred with every passing day. The Arctic, a land of icy desolation. Beneath the frozen wasteland, a secret base lay hidden. Evelyn and her team braved the treacherous conditions. Inside, they discovered an ancient observatory frozen in time. Advanced technology far ahead of its time. The observatory's design hinted at a deep understanding of astronomy and physics. Could this be the work of the ancient civilization from the Codex? Angkor Wat, a sprawling temple complex in Cambodia. Its majestic towers seemed to touch the heavens. Evelyn deciphered intricate carvings on its walls. They depicted celestial alignments, mirroring the constellations above. But these carvings were thousands of years old, predating modern astronomy. How could ancient builders possess such knowledge? Angkor Wat held more than just religious significance. It was an astronomical observatory, a testament to a forgotten science. Myths, often dismissed as mere stories. But what if they held deeper truths? Evelyn found striking parallels between ancient myths and modern quantum physics. The concept of interconnectedness, central to many myths, resonated with quantum entanglement. The idea of a multiverse, found in various ancient traditions, echoed with the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Could ancient civilizations have possessed an intuitive understanding of the universe's fundamental nature? Section 6. The language of the cosmos. When symbols predicted science, the Codex filled with cryptic symbols and prophecies. As Evelyn delved deeper, she realized their significance. The symbols weren't random. They represented scientific concepts, predicting technological advancements. The double helix, a symbol of DNA, appeared centuries before its discovery. A depiction of an atom, with its nucleus and orbiting electrons, predated modern physics. The Codex wasn't just a historical artifact. It was a blueprint of scientific progress. Section 7. Architects of Civilization, the Guiding Hand Hypothesis. The evidence pointed to an inescapable conclusion. A civilization, lost to time, possessed advanced knowledge. They understood the cosmos, quantum physics, and even genetic engineering. But who were they? And what was their purpose? Could they be the gods and goddesses of ancient myths? Or perhaps extraterrestrial visitors who shared their knowledge with early humans? The idea of a guiding intelligence, shaping civilization from behind the scenes, became increasingly plausible. Section 8. Rewriting History, the Impact of Forgotten Knowledge. The discovery of this forgotten civilization sent shockwaves through academia. History, as we knew it, needed to be rewritten. Our understanding of human potential was challenged. If an ancient civilization could achieve such advancements, what were we capable of? The implications were profound. It was a paradigm shift in our understanding of the past and our place in the universe. As Section 9, a universe of possibilities, our place in the grand tapestry. Evelyn's quest had unearthed more than just ancient secrets. It had opened up a universe of possibilities. The boundaries of science and spirituality blurred. The universe was no longer a cold, indifferent void. It was a place where ancient wisdom and modern science could coexist. A place where myths held hidden truths, waiting to be rediscovered. The journey had just begun.